Alright, what up? This is a weeks 1 through 4 recap of League of Extraordinary Genitalmen. And what a crazy recap this is going to be. If you haven't taken a look at the standings, I suggest, well, if you're a good record, go take a look. If you don't take a look anyway, because it's still going to blow your mind. Man, this is going to be crazy stuff. This will be a really quick video. Let's just go through the standings, where everyone's at. And I have a few updates for the league, and in just terms of things to look forward to, a couple tips here and there on how to navigate your roster, because I just caught a couple things today. All right, but we'll start at the bottom, and then work our way up. All right, so at number 12, 0-4, Reese's favorite team after the draft, according to our video we did from the beginning, so our post-draft recap. Who, don't get me wrong, had a really good team. One of my favorites, Dylan, Blue Mountain State, is sitting at 0-4. I feel bad for you, buddy. Dalvin Cook, you've always hit a few hurdles. Dalvin Cook. Jimmy Garoppolo is on the IR now. OBJ hasn't really performed. Okay, Ellie. OBJ hasn't really performed the way we thought he would be coming back. That offense spreads the ball around a good amount. You get Saquon in the mix, and Sterling Shepard had a good week last week, and Eli's kind of hit or miss, but should bounce back. So Dylan, don't lose hope. Number 11, second to last, is Vamsi. Also, don't lose hope. Vamsi has a pretty good roster. You've got your receivers set. Hopkins, AJ Green as like your starting wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I was on record beginning of the year saying I see like a super huge jump in the Cincinnati Bengals offense. And I think we've seen that. Somehow Andy Dalton's really clicked together. I'm sure the injury to Joe Mixon kind of helps that. AJ Green's having a fantasy relevant season. Tyler Boyd's having a fantasy relevant season. Giovanni Bernard. We thought that offensive line was going to be crappy, which it's still not the best, but somehow they've been making it work. And there goes my dogs. Number 10. Oh, this is my favorite post-draft team. So, the top 2 teams that I thought would be sitting here. I didn't expect them to be here. But Luke sitting at number 10. But Le'Veon Bell really messed things up. When you have the number 2 overall pick in a draft, and Gurley is off the table, taking in Le'Veon Bell, no one's going to argue with that. I followed that up with Mixon in the second round, and there you go. Your top 2 picks have not been around to put in a fantasy season for you. So you're sitting at number 10, but don't lose hope. I looked at that roster just now. There's some really good, strong pieces there. When your running backs come back, it'll be good. Royce Freeman should be getting starting. Oh, actually, I don't know if he is. Vance Joseph's just, I don't know. Devontae Booker was in the game way too much. But you got Stephon Diggs, Corey Davis, Manny Sanders. So don't give up. I was not expecting this guy, my co-star, who's not here because he's nursing a repaired ACL. So heal up, Reese. All right, Reese just had surgery, so if you're watching this, send him a text. Let him know that you're thinking about him. Wish him good luck. This is only not his first, not his second, but his third time. Third time, bro. Third time. You've torn more ACLs than you have wins this year. Hi, baby. Reese sitting at number 9. You've got a huge library of running backs right now with Zeke, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Jordan Howard, Matt Breida. So if I were you, I'd be making some moves, like big time. And your receivers really aren't that bad either. You know, Tyreek Hill, Marvin Jones. So they're not bad players. Just got dealt, I think you got dealt some bad matchups. You've scored 450 points, which is actually more than me, and I'm number 4 in the league, right? More than 4, 5, and 6 standings right now. You have more points for than they do. The top 3 guys are actually sweeping everybody up. Number 8 is Tom Howland. Tom's been a busy man. So somehow he's put together a decent fantasy weeks 1 through 4 so far. Antonio Brown, Jared Goff. He's got a few people carrying him there. Number 7, Chris Pena. Shockingly is number 7, considering he has the number 1 and number 2 fantasy players in the whole league. He has Pat Mahomes, Alvin Kamara. So who knows if Mahomes and Kamara could continue their pace on where they're going. And we just talked about Mahomes on pace for 56 touchdowns. That'd be pretty crazy, right? Number 6 is Mitch, who was my vote for the worst team in the league post-draft. And he is riding on the tails of Julio and Keenan and Kerryon Johnson, and somehow he's getting it done. Number 6 in the league. Number 5 was Reese's pick for the worst team in the league. Ronjo had the number 1 pick, took Todd Gurley, and he's got a few good pieces coming back. Alshon Jeffrey's back, Julian Edelman's back from suspension, so there's actually an uptick in Ronjo's roster moving forward. So we're going to see how this goes. Number 4 is myself. I've been pretty fortunate to ride some really strong players. Oh my god. Do you guys want to see my dogs making out? Never mind, don't worry. They're totally making out right now. But I've got Thielen, Devontae Adams, and even though my first round pick, David Johnson, hasn't been playing to what I wish he was playing at, but I've been pretty fortunate in that sense. So number 3 in the league, Sam, pretty strong roster. Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, stud running backs, and then his flex, his RB3, his third running back is Carlos Hyde, who I talked about before. He's on pace for 20 touchdowns. I don't think he'll get to 20 touchdowns, but the fact that he's on pace for 20 touchdowns tells you a lot about, 1, Cleveland's offense, 2, Hyde as a player, but also just how good Sam's roster is. He's got Juju, who actually has more receptions than Antonio Brown, even on less targets than Antonio Brown. So that's pretty cool. Number 2 in the league, auto-drafted when he was in Mexico, and he's doing just fine. Braulio, he's got the number 1 wide receiver, Michael Thomas, on his team. I didn't think he would pull it off, but somehow he's killing it. And the number 1, I can't believe I have to say this bastard's fucking name, and I know you're watching this, and I know everyone knows who it is, and I know everyone's just as angry as I am that I have to say your name. But Alex Garcia, number 1 in the league right now, picking James Conner at the end of the draft turns out to be a steal. Steal's not even the word. It's like the biggest heist in all of fantasy football. Kareem Hunt's had a pretty good start to the year. Jarvis Landry's had a good start to the year. So props to you, props there. Again, like I said in the other video, if you're 0-4, so Dylan, Vomsi, sitting at the bottom of the standings and you're thinking about giving up, like, dude, don't fucking give up. Just think about how quickly things, just think about what had to happen weeks 1 through 4 in order to get you where you are, because there's very good rosters sitting at the bottom of these rankings, and just as quickly as things escalated, it can really escalate the other way. You know what I mean? So don't give up on it yet. A couple other things is don't forget when we're on Fab, so if you're doing bids, you have an opportunity to do $0 bids, which I say that because Ronjo, you're actually at $0 budgets after 4 weeks, so the rest of the year you're on $0 bids for the rest of the year. IR spot, this is my fault. I thought that everyone knew how IR spots work, which I should have actually went through this. So this is really important. But if your player is listed, if anyone on your roster is listed as out, it has the O next to his name, he qualifies for an IR spot. All right? It doesn't have to be IR. It's IR or the PUP. PUP also qualifies, but IR, PUP, and out. So if there's an O there, you can slide him in. So Sam, I was just browsing through rosters today. I noticed that Evan Ingram was still on your roster, and he's out for a few weeks. you can slide him in to that IR spot, frees up a roster spot for you to use on the free agency pool. Now, when Evan Ingram comes back, though, if in order for you to make any moves on your roster, you have to move Evan Ingram back to a normal roster spot. So you might have to drop a player then, right? So Ronjo right now, like you have T.Y. Hilton, who's actually out for tomorrow. So if you just wanted like Ryan Grant, I don't know why I'm giving you this advice. I'm not playing you this week, so I get whatever. If you want like Ryan Grant, you can move T.Y. Hilton to that IR spot, pull up Ryan Grant. But next week, once T.Y.'s status is no longer that O, in order for you to make any move at all, you have to move him back and drop a player. All right, does that make sense for everybody? I should have said this way earlier in the year. It's my bad. I should have known that IR is new to people, and I should have said something. So strategy moving forward, if someone hits the O, that's the O next to them, you can move them to the IR spot. All right. Playoff format, I sent out a message early this morning. That was actually my mistake. I've always enjoyed a 3-week playoff format, 14, 15, 16. I just slipped my mind at the beginning of the year. I put 15, 16. So we're actually going to do 8 teams, 14, 15, 16 playoff format. I know we talked about 6 as an option where the top 2 seeds get a bye. Personally, I like 8. I think it'll be fun. It increases everyone's chances to get in the playoffs. Considering the season, how it's been going right now, if it's at 6 and you're 0-4, it's easy for you to give up. But if there's 8 teams that make the playoffs and anything can happen in the playoffs, dude, keep fighting. So if you're sitting down there below, keep fighting, keep fighting. Last but not least, this is a keeper league, so obviously that plays into a lot of decisions everyone makes throughout the season. And there's been a lot of questions I've been getting about keepers and how it's going to work in the following seasons. I am going to do another video about that, probably in the mid-year. I wish I could do it now. I just haven't finalized every detail yet, so I don't want to keep adding details. But, I mean, just be aware of it. There's a lot of good questions, like very legitimate keeper league questions, things that some of them I have already planned for, other things I didn't even plan for, right? But good things that I still have to hash out with you guys is how are we going to do, what round you sacrifice for players that you pull off the free agency, right? Like how that's going to work, trades, what happens when you trade, and how many years can you keep a keeper for? Does the price increase year over year? Like, see, there's some things that you probably didn't even think about. Some of you who have keeper league experience know a little about it. I have a little bit, so I'm still hashing out the details. Just I don't wanna leave y'all hang on that. You'll get that later, all right? And again, as always, if you have any questions on anything, hit me up. If you got ideas for videos, let me know. But this top 12, man, hey, anything can change. By week 8 or week 9, week 10, when I read these top 12 again, it can look completely fucking different. So, best of luck rest of the season, and salud.